Drilling for natural gas is not environmentally safe. In the last few years, oil companies have been trying to convince America that natural gas is the way of the future, saying that it is the clean burning transition fuel that will aid us in freeing ourselves from our dependency on foreign oil. But at what cost? You know, it would come to surprise many that in 2005, former Vice President Dick Cheney pushed an energy bill through Congress that exempted oil and gas companies from the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Superfund Law, which authorizes the EPA to identify parties responsible for contamination of sites and forces them to clean up areas that house hazardous substances, and about a dozen other environmental and democratic regulations. Now, it seems to me that if any company in the world needed to be regulated, it'd be an oil or a gas company, especially with the method of drilling that they use. They use a method of drilling called hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. Fracking is a procedure where they inject a mix of sand, water, and 596 chemicals 8,000 feet into the ground. So how are things getting contaminated? The average well requires about 6 million gallons of that cocktail water, and only half of that water comes back up. This water is called produced water. This water gets put into a big Olympic-sized pit called a flowback pit that's lined with plastic that gets eaten by the chemicals and has a chance to seep back into the ground. And because of this, the water finds its way into people's drinking water wells. They also haven't perfected their drilling techniques, and some of the gas always escapes and finds its way into the water table, allowing it to contaminate tens of miles with just one well. Natural creeks, streams, and ponds have been contaminated with bubbling water. Animals that drink it die. And because it doesn't have the benefit of being brown or a hazy white like the produced water, it ends up being ingested by humans. Unaware of the poisonous toxins, it ends up being ingested for months at a time, by animals and humans alike. Some farmers are even being forced to use contaminated wells to hydrate their cattle, which in turn finds its way into our food supply. The unfortunate people that ingest this water develop extreme neuropathy, which is very painful. Some have even died. There are thousands of cases where people have to haul their own water. And when people try to hold the companies like Cabot Oil and Gas, Williams, and Encana responsible, they tell you to just sue, and the last person standing gets paid off, and then you get a gag order to never speak about it again. And with good reason, because some of these people's water catches on fire. Yes, I did say fire. Water catches on fire. Fire. What can we do? We can stand up to these companies with a unified voice. The EPA had 5 out of 7 conflicts of interest on the Board of Natural Gas Regulation. That's why nothing has been done about these blatant disregards for environmental safety. When you vote, know who it is you're voting for, and make sure they support big oil and gas regulations. Or shoot, wouldn't it be easier to just build a solar panel instead? We have the power to make a difference. Don't think that just because it doesn't affect you now, that it won't one day. Find out who you're voting for and what their views are on environmental safety. Be proactive in your environment. We can make a difference.